Welcome, everybody. Great to have you. We'll give everyone a few minutes to get logged in and settled. Before we start, just a quick reminder that yes, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. That means there is no class on Friday, but then we resume as usual the following Wednesday. So a little break, but we do have those YouTube videos. So if you miss me, you can find me on YouTube, and we'll share a link at the end of class, and it's also in your email reminders. We have the links. So today is functional fitness. Welcome to class. Great to have you as always. Before we get moving, just a quick reminder of what else GoGo offers. So in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services. Home services is really like anything that needs to happen. Cleaning out those gutters, shoveling snow, changing some light bulbs, pretty much you name it. And you can access all of this by calling one number, and that phone number is 855-464-6872. Also, a reminder that we have a referral program. So at the bottom of your GoGo receipts, there is a code. If you give that code to a friend, once they've taken their first service with GoGo, you will both receive $10 in credit. We have a Facebook group, so if you want to continue any conversations online or just see how other people are using GoGo, you can find us on Facebook, and we'll share a link in the chat so you can get there easily. All right, if we haven't met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness classes here at GoGo. So today is functional fitness. What do you need? A chair and some weights. So last time we did functional fitness, I grabbed some cans. So you're totally welcome to grab some cans. Today I have my weights, my light weights. So anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds, just something that you can lift easily. Water bottles would also work. So just any lightweight. If you have nothing at all, that's totally fine. Just use the air and pretend that you're lifting something, and that'll be plenty of work. Let's see. Move of the week. Whew, this was a couple weeks ago, right? Because last Wednesday was yoga. Wednesday prior to that was functional fitness. Does anybody remember the functional fitness move of the week? And it had a very, in my opinion, a very functional aspect to it. It wasn't just like an exercise. And if you're raising your hand, I might not be seeing you because there are a lot of videos, so I have to scroll through. You can also put it in the chat or unmute and shout it out if anyone remembers a functional fitness move of the week.
Was that last Wednesday?
No, so last Wednesday was yoga, so it was the Wednesday before that.
Oh.
It's so hard to remember that far. That's why I always write it down.
I have senior moments, so.
I think when we're trying to remember something for that long, we all have senior moments, so.
We don't even have Bertha today to tell us because she usually knows.
Yeah, I was scrolling through to see if Bertha was here.
And I don't remember. I don't think I was here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think maybe you weren't, because you usually remember too, Carol.
Yeah. Well, I've been having issues, so I haven't been here every week.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here today.
Yes.
Oh, I'm doing better. I'm doing better. I had surgery on my left shoulder.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Well, take it easy. Be gentle in class today.
Oh, I do. Trust me.
Okay, good. All right, I'm getting a lot of blank stares, so I think nobody remembers the functional fitness move of the week. So we might have to make this our move again.
Was there a head rub? Something?
No, that was yoga a couple of weeks ago.
I didn't know. Did they have a functional move for yoga? I always thought it was for this class when you had something that you wrote down.
I do. I write it down every Wednesday. I write it for yoga and the functional fitness. So our move for functional fitness was deadlift and noticing how you pick things up. Because last functional fitness class, so not last week, because last Wednesday that we did functional fitness, it gets very complicated, this like switching schedule. We talked about how we pick things up to be safe on our spine. And so that was the move of the week, and I might make it a repeat. We'll see. We'll see how class goes, and we'll decide whether we need to make that the move of the week again.
Well,
All
I
right.
think I was there.
It,
I think I was there at the end because on Wednesdays I always have that other class, and today they decided not to have it because of Thanksgiving. So I'm able to be here on time or close to on time and
excellent,
for the full
Ross.
class.
Great. Well,
There
I'm
you
glad you're
go.
here too. We're gonna get started. We're gonna get started. We'll have time to chat at the end. But I'm getting stares, so it's it's time to move. Too much time on the functional move. Oh, almost lost my computer there. All right, let's get started. Let's find a nice standing position. Let's do some big shoulder rolls back and shoulder rolls forward. So glad you're all here. Let's relax those shoulders. Let's circle those arms up towards the ceiling. Inhale and exhale. Hands come down. A couple more times following your breath. So just a reminder to take care of your body. Move only in ways that feel good and safe to your body. And if you ever want to skip anything or modify, you are absolutely welcome to do so. Let's do one more. I lied. One more because you're going to pause when the arms are up towards the ceiling. So once the arms are up, let's pause. And then we'll reach one arm higher than the other, getting a little bit of a side stretch, and then center, and then other arm a little higher, side stretch, and center. Just a few more times. Maybe one more each side. And coming back to center, releasing those arms, taking those feet wide, a little wider than the shoulders. And let yourself twist, but let your whole body twist. So as you rotate to the right, the left heel can lift off the ground. And as you rotate to the left, the right heel can lift off the ground. Arms can swing freely. So we're getting rotation, but really allowing it to be free and to move through the entire body. You can notice where your gaze is going. Maybe you're looking back past that back shoulder, maybe not. All right, and coming back to center. I'm going to go sideways just so you can see. You can stay facing me. You'll bend your knees and place your hands on your thighs. So above the knees, anywhere. It can be above the knees or on the thighs. If this is really uncomfortable, then you can put your hands on a table or on your chair. So you have options. Thighs, chair, table. We'll move through the spine here. So as you inhale, you'll reach your tailbone up towards the ceiling and lift your chest. So you're creating a little back bend or a little scoop. And then exhale, round your back, tuck your chin, tuck your tail like you're a Halloween cat. We'll inhale, bring the chest forward, tail goes up, little baby back bend. And exhale, rounding like you're a Halloween cat. Couple more times. All right, and then letting that go, coming back to center, shaking it off. Let's pause for a moment before we go into all of these exercises. Let's pause and plant those feet to the ground. And see if you can find nice even weight, front to back and right to left on your feet. You can keep your eyes closed or open. And we'll just do a quick scan of the body, just noticing how you're feeling. So maybe starting at the top of the head and just checking in. How is the head doing? How are the muscles of the face? How is the neck? How are the shoulders? The arms? The spine? The hips? And the legs. So just briefly checking through the body. Anything interesting to note? Acknowledging aches and pains, blank spots. So sometimes there are spots where we really can't sense, and areas that maybe feel surprisingly comfortable. Just having a note of where we're beginning from. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose, fill your lungs. And exhale out the mouth, let it go. All right, let's blink open those eyes and grab those weights if you want them. We're going to start with a little bit of squatting. So the weights are just to add a little weight to your squat. You don't need to have them. If you want, you can put those weights up by your chest or get rid of the weights. You don't need them. We're going to take those feet about as wide as the shoulders, maybe slightly wider. Toes can point forward or slightly out. Going into our squats. So the torso stays relatively upright, but it can lean forward slightly. We bend those knees. And straighten. Let's add some breathing. Inhale, bend those knees. Exhale, straighten those legs. Keep going. So thinking about your spine here, we're trying not to change the shape of the spine. We're feeling how those leg bones move in the hip sockets. You decide how low you go. All right, and then coming all the way up. Take those feet back towards each other. We're going into some bicep curls. So grabbing your weights if you want them, or cans or water bottles, or just pretend that you're holding on to something. Palms turn to face forward. So the eyes of the elbows or the soft part of the elbows are facing forward. Then we bend the elbows, hands come by the shoulders, and we lower the arms down. So if you don't have weights, or if your weights feel very light, I want you to imagine that you're lifting something heavy. So keep going here at your own pace. Don't worry about my speed or anybody else's speed. So you're imagining that you're lifting something heavy. Even if you have weight, if you want it to be more challenging, move slowly as if you're trying to pick something up that's quite heavy. Watch that you're not moving your whole body here. It is just that elbow, just the forearm moving up towards the shoulders and then back down. All right. Let's put those weights down. We're going to come to a seat. I'm going to sit sideways just so you can see. You feel free to keep facing your camera. So putting your weights down wherever you'd like, and then have a seat on the front of your chair or towards the front edge of the chair. So I don't want you far back. It just makes it a little bit harder if you're far back in the chair. So just scooching forward so you're not using that backrest. And it's really just the pelvis on the chair and not so much your entire leg. Feet are on the ground, planted here. And so we're going to play with the hinge here of the hips, trying not to change the shape of the spine. So we're going to move our torso and our pelvis about our thighs or around the thighs as best we can. So that means we're moving that whole body forward, keeping a flat back, and then coming back up. So I'm going to show this a couple of different ways. I'm going to take off my long sleeve, and that way you can see a little bit better, I think. 1 second. Yeah, there you go. You'll probably see better here. So one way to come forward would be to round forward. So that's what we're not doing. We're not rounding forward to come closer to the thighs. What we're trying to do is move the entire torso and pelvis forward. So it's like a hinge. And the hinge is happening by that pelvis rolling over the thigh bone. So we're hinging forward and back. And let me see if I can get my arms out of the way so you can see we hinge forward and back. So my spine does not change shape. What we're doing is moving these big bones around of the pelvis around the thighs. We're going to do that a few times. So we did a lot of this sort of idea when we were doing our class to pick things up off the ground, and we did that a couple of weeks ago, but we're going to revisit parts of it, but just from a different perspective. So feeling that torso and pelvis can roll over the thighs without rounding the spine. And that might mean that your motion is really small. If you'd like, you're going to allow the motion to move back as well. So that means you're going to let yourself scooch back a little bit with the whole body. So that torso and pelvis is going back. You'll feel your core engage and then forward. You don't need to have your arms up. My arms are up mostly because that way you can see what my body is doing a little bit more easily. Otherwise, my arms are sort of in the way. Let's just do a few more. So as best you can, the spine is not changing shape. And we're rolling through that pelvis. You'll feel different bones or different parts of the bones in your bum pressing into the chair. So when you lean forward, you're sitting towards the front end of those sits bones. And then when you're leaning back, your pelvis is going to roll and you're going to move towards the back end of the sits bones and towards your tailbone. Keep going. I'm going to just grab my model really quick so you can see what I'm saying. So this is our pelvis. And so it's rolling. And our leg bones is this pen, right? So we're seated and it's rolling back and rolling forward. So that's what's moving. Just so you have maybe a truer sense, an X-ray sense. All right, coming back to center, let's sit nice and tall. And now we're going to try and move our thigh bone in relationship to that pelvis. So what we were just doing was moving the pelvis in relationship to the thigh bone, and now the thigh bone is going to move in relationship to the pelvis. So I like to take the hands to the hips and feel those hard bones of the pelvis and try not to let those move. So you're going to try and keep them as still as possible. And then you'll lift your one knee up and bring it down, and then other knee up. I'm doing just heel raises to start. So I'm not even lifting my foot completely off the ground, but lifting one heel and feeling that leg bone can move about the pelvis without the pelvis moving. So we're finding that there's range of motion of the leg without the spine and pelvis getting involved. Once you feel the hang of that, right? So this is not so much weight for your leg to lift because your heel is the only thing lifting, the toes stay down. Now, once you feel like you've gotten the hang of that, you're going to lift the foot completely off the ground, like a little march, and bring it down. But again, as you're doing this little march, you're not changing the shape of the pelvis or the spine. So if you need to, you can hold on to the spine as well and see, is that moving? Is my back moving? Or touch the spine. You're not really holding on to the spine, but touch the spine with one hand of the low back, and then the other hand can be at your hip or at your pelvis, and just feeling, can I march without changing the shape of my spine? What we're doing here is learning to use the big joints in the body so that the small joints of the spine can be protected as best we can. All right, and then we're gonna let that go. Be mindful of how you come up. So thinking about this, can you lean forward without changing the shape of the spine? Push down into the feet to rise. All right, let's grab those weights. We're gonna do our bicep curls once again. So grabbing those weights, palms face forward, bicep curls. So don't forget what we just did with those hips, because we're gonna come back and go back to doing some deadlifts and some motion of the hips without involving the spine. But good to get a little break, do something different. So getting those bicep curls, going as fast or as slow as you want. So you're welcome to go fast. Just make sure that you have control. All right, and then let's put those weights down off to the side for a moment. Okay, so we're going to practice that deadlift motion. I'm going to get rid of the weights, or I'm not going to hold on to the weights for this just because it's easier to explain because I use my arms when I'm explaining things. But you're welcome to hold on to your weights and just have them by your side or slightly in front of you. So standing, taking your feet about outer hip width apart, so pelvis width. So a little bit wide. I'm going to go sideways because that's what's going to be most, I think, valuable or useful to see. Again, we're not changing the shape of the spine. So if it helps to hold your torso, you can do that. We're rolling that pelvis over the thigh bone, or thigh bones. We have two thighs. So you're going to come forward, leaning forward. So seeing that the shape of my spine has not changed. So we're leaning forward and then bending the knees as if you're reaching for something on the ground. Do not change the shape of the spine. So spine shape stays the same the whole time. And then coming up. So that's a deadlift. It is not this. So why is this problematic, this rounding? It just puts so much pressure on the bones and the ligaments, the tiny bones and ligaments of your spine. And that's where that can lead to back injuries. So that is why this matters. And that's why we're going over it again today. So hips go back, knees bend, torso is forward. You're pushing those feet down into the ground. Spine doesn't change shape. It's as if you're reaching for something and then coming back up. We're going to do that several times. Making sure that spine doesn't change shape. Even the front of this, or the top half of the spine, stays the same. Once you feel like you've gotten a hang of the motion, grab those weights if you haven't already. Just gives you a little different feel because when you're going to go down to pick something up, it's going to have some weight to it. We're not going all the way to the ground right now because we're really practicing having nice form. There are a lot of components to this and a lot of components to why sometimes it's hard to reach all the way down to the ground. It could have to do with your ankle and calf and foot flexibility. So sometimes that's the limiting factor. Sometimes it's that hip flexibility. And by hip, I'm really talking about all the things surrounding the hip joint. Because sometimes the back of the hip can't open up enough. And then also finding that control in the spine because it's so easy to move the spine that it can sometimes be challenging to not move the spine. We're really trying to move those bits that have a harder time moving. Just a few more. All right, and then coming up. Last set of bicep curls. So grab those weights if you don't have them, or your cans, or just imaginary weights. Palms face forward, we bend the elbows and lower. Okay. Put those weights off to the side. So we're going to do the same deadlift idea, but we're going to bias one leg. So it can be helpful to have something to hold onto. I'm going to mirror you for the first few, and then I'll move sideways so you can see as well. So we'll place the left hand on your support. You can also do right hand, so don't really worry too much about which hand, but I'm going to talk you through which arm just for the sake of symmetry. We'll have the left hand on the chair and the left foot will be forward. The right foot will be back. So I'm mirroring you. That right foot doesn't have that much weight on it. So it's just the toes on the ground. Now I'm going to show you a side view. So that left foot is in front, right leg is behind. We're holding onto the chair with the side that has the front leg. Okay, so most of the weight should be in that front leg. That back foot is there for support. It is there for balance support. Your hand is there for balance support, but most of the weight is in that front leg. We're doing that same exact motion of the deadlift, except for now more weight is on that front leg. So same thing, spine doesn't change shape. We're rolling that pelvis over the thigh bones, bending the knees and hinging forward like you're reaching for something without changing the shape of the spine. So you're not going to touch the ground. You're moving towards the earth and then coming back up. I better move this chair. It's almost the same color as my skin. We're going to bend those knees, hinge the hips. You're still holding on. I'm not holding on mostly because that way you can see what the body is doing. Hinging forward, reaching down, picking something up, and all the way up. I'll talk you through it one more time. So pelvis doesn't change shape. Sorry, spine doesn't change shape. Pelvis is moving over the thigh bones. We're hinging forward from the hips. We're bending the knees, coming down, and then all the way up. So keep going here. So I know a lot is going on because we're worrying about our balance in addition to our form. Just keep paying attention to what your body's doing, maybe noticing where you're feeling sticky or having a harder time moving through this range of motion. All right, and then coming all the way up, and we'll switch sides. So we have our left hand on and left foot in front. Now we switch. Right hand on, right foot in front, left foot behind. So that's your setup. You can also set up sideways, doesn't matter, whatever feels comfortable. So we've switched, right foot is in front this time, left foot is behind. Most of the weight is in that front leg. You're holding on if you want. We hinge at the hips and bend the knees, coming forward like you're about to pick something up, and then coming all the way back up. So keep going. All those same ideas and components apply. We're trying not to change the shape of the spine. We're trying to use the bigger joints in the body. The core is engaged mostly to help us prevent motion in the spine. Most of the weight is in the front leg if possible. You're holding on for balance if you want. All right. All the way up, shake it off. We're gonna grab one weight. We're gonna do some triceps. Couple of different ways we can do this. I have the weight in my right hand. Left foot's coming forward, right foot is going back, and we're bending that front knee into sort of a little lunge. Left hand can be on that left thigh or knee for support. If you're going like, I don't want to do this, this feels really uncomfortable. Grab a chair. Put your arm, you can do that same lunge, but put your forearm on the back of the chair. Put your hand on the base of the chair, right? You have options. All I'm looking for is that your torso isn't completely upright. I want your torso to be slightly forward. In fact, I find it quite comfortable to put my forearm on the back of my chair, so that's what I'm going to do. But again, hand on the thigh is really nice, or hand on the base of the chair is also very nice. That front knee is bent, the back leg is straight, the weight is in that right hand. We're bending that right elbow. Elbow goes up so that upper arm is almost parallel to the earth, or is parallel to the earth. We straighten the arm behind us so the pinky is reaching towards the ceiling. That whole arm is now parallel to the earth. And then we bend the elbow. So we're just straightening and bending the elbow. All right. Coming up, and then we're switching. So moving the weight to your other hand. Right foot is forward, left foot is back. Right hand can be on your thigh or knee. Right forearm can be on the back of your chair. Right hand can be on the base of the chair. Find whatever works for you. I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side because it felt nice. This spine is nice and long. We're going to bend that left elbow. That upper arm is almost parallel to the earth or parallel, and then straighten the arm so it's parallel to the earth. Pinky reaches towards the ceiling, and then we bend. So now it's just a bending and straightening of the left elbow. Feeling the back of the arm working. If this feels like too much, get rid of the weight. Totally fine to do without weight. All right. And then letting that go, coming up, putting the weight down. Whew, shaking out those arms. We're going to keep playing with that deadlift idea, but we're going to go with a wider stance. It's just going to feel a little different, but the same components apply, that the spine is staying still. It's that pelvis rolling over those thighs and the movement in the knees and the ankles to make this motion happen. So legs will go wider, and you can let those toes point out. The wider the stance, the easier it is to get to the ground. So we're going to get closer to the earth with more ease. Play with how your toes point, in that I want your knees to follow the same line as your toes. So if your toes are pointing out and your knees are knocking in, you need to turn those toes to follow that same line as your knees as best you can. I'll show a front view, but then I'll show you a side view as well. So we're hinging at the hips, so same thing. We're hinging at the hips, or just thighs are rotated in a different way. We're hinging at the hips and bending those knees, bringing that torso almost parallel to the earth. And now we're a little closer to the ground to pick something up. I'll show you a side view. So same thing, we have that wide stance, wider than our shoulders, toes point slightly out, but that rotation is also happening at the thighs. We're hinging at the hips, so my spine is not changing shape. It's that pelvis rolling over those thighs, and the knees bend, and oh, the ground is so much closer and coming up. So we call these, I think, sumo deadlifts. So go ahead, find that nice wide stance. We're hinging forward, bending the knees. You might not touch the ground yet, but you're getting closer and coming up. Really focusing on not changing the shape of the spine. Focusing on keeping that spine nice and still as you move other parts of the body. You're welcome to do this with or without weights. All right, and coming all the way up, bring those legs back together, shake them off. Let's grab one of those weights. We're doing those tricep extensions again. So weight is in the right hand. Left foot is forward, right foot is back. The front knee is bent. Your hand can be on your thigh, or you can move that left forearm to your chair or left hand to your chair. So back to that exercise we've just done. We bend the elbow, upper arm is parallel to the ground. Then we straighten the arm so the pinky reaches towards the ceiling, and then bend the elbow. So the upper arm doesn't change. It's just that forearm and wrist and hand moving. So it's a bending and straightening of the elbow, keeping the upper arm in that lifted position. Okay, coming up, bring your feet together, switching, so weight goes into your other hand, right foot in front, left foot behind, bending the front knee, hand can be on your thigh, hand can be on the back of the chair or the base of the chair, whatever is comfortable, right? We just want the torso slightly leaning forward. We bend the left elbow so the upper arm is parallel to the ground, and then we straighten and bend the arm. All right, and then coming up, letting that go. We're gonna do those sumo deadlifts one last time. I'm gonna grab my weights for this version or this time. You can choose to do that or not. Again, legs go wide, wider than your shoulders. Toes can point out slightly. You know the drill, all the same things. We hinge at the hips, spine stays the same, bend the knees, torso's coming almost parallel to the earth, and then coming up. Keep going at your own pace. So my feet are barely turned out, but everybody's different. So just know that if you need to adjust your foot stance, that's totally fine. Make sure that those knees are tracking along those feet. I find it's also helpful to let the weight be really even on those feet on the way down, or maybe even more weight forward onto the toes when I'm coming down. Gives me a little bit more range of motion, but everybody's different. Doesn't matter how low you go, right? The goal here is not range of motion, but quality of motion. Let's do 2 more. All right, coming up, bringing those legs back together, putting those weights down, shaking it off. Taking a moment, let's plant those feet on the ground. If you want, you can close your eyes or leave them open. Find that even weight on those feet, front to back, right to left. Take a few deeper than normal breaths. And then scan through the body. How is my head? How is your face? How are the muscles of the neck and jaw? Notice your arms and shoulders. Feel into your spine, your pelvis and hips and legs. Just checking through the body. Does it feel the same from the start of class? Does it feel different? No judgment, just noticing. Are blank spots no longer blank? Are there new blank spots? Are there different aches? Are they the same quality? Quantity? Just notice. What is your body experiencing right now? And then inhale, circle the arms out towards the side and up towards the ceiling. Exhale, arms lower back down. 2 more times. Inhale, arms circle out and up. Exhale, arms come back down. Last time, inhale, arms circle out and up. This time, palms touch, hands lower towards your chest. Awesome work, everybody. So great to have you, as always. So yeah, as promised, our move of the week is going to be the same. I want you to spend the next couple weeks, so until the next functional fitness class, on a Wednesday, so not the Friday functional fitness, because we only do moves of the weeks on Wednesdays. I want you to notice how you pick things up off the ground. So, initially maybe just noticing, oh, what do I do? How does my spine do this? I know someone said, I don't remember who it was, oh, well, we have those reachers now, so you can just grab a reacher. That's fine too, but also noticing with a reacher, are you bending forward? And are you bending forward with your spine, or are you bending forward with the hips? Because sometimes, a reacher isn't quite long enough to get there. So, or is it a side bend that you're doing? So noticing how do you pick things up off the ground, whether you're doing a reacher or your hands, and see if you can play with finding that more deadlift-like motion where the torso is nice and still and you're feeling that pelvis, so these hard bones here rolling over the thigh bones to make that motion happen. So write it down if you need to. I'm still going to write it down, even though it's the same thing as last time, because then I'm going to get wildly confused. So deadlift / notice how you pick things up. And now we have our time to chat. I know I cut you off, Ross, because I wanted to make sure we got moving when we usually get moving. So no class on Friday, so I won't see you until next Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving. If you have questions about class or yoga as well, so functional fitness or yoga, now is your time to ask. If you have GoGo specific questions, please email GoGo directly, because I don't know the answers to those. So the floor is yours.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Adra.
Thanks, Carol.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
Will I get a link to each class? This is my first time here.
Yes. So you'll get an invite link. I'm assuming you got an invite link for this class?
Yes.
Yeah, so you'll keep, for every class, you'll keep getting an invite link. So you can access it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are these available? I notice it's being recorded.
Yes. So it takes usually a couple of weeks, but they do pop up on YouTube, and they're available there for free. So we'll share the YouTube. Let's see if it's already. We'll share the YouTube in the. Oh yeah, it's already there. So in the chat, that link that the last message V wrote, that bottom link.
Yep.
You click that link, that'll bring you to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe if you want, and then you'll get a notification when a new video is uploaded, or you can just find the playlist there. And I think there's a playlist for the functional fitness and a playlist for the yoga.
Thank you.
Adria, my teachers, when I was young, said, don't ever worry about remembering the things on a test that you got right, you'll always remember the things that you got wrong. And so if we've all forgot for the class, maybe next time we'll all remember because we forgot.
Yeah, I think everyone will remember because it's a repeat too. So
And I was doing my ski stuff, and I had you on the half screen, and the other half of the screen was the top of Taos Mountain where it was snowing. And so I was I actually, there's a weather station where there's a building and they got the tower. And so basically I had you when you were doing your exercises on top of the little building, and on each side was the top of the mountain going all different 360 directions, well 180, from the stuff. So anyway, it was kind of cute. So I thought, all right, Adra's up here, and I said, we're going to go reach all the way down, and we're touching the top of the mountain, and we're going to reach up to the sky. You'd have to be there. Okay, I better quit.
That's fun. That's really fun. I like that you create visuals and make it feel like you're out in nature as you're doing these exercises. That's fun. Thanks for sharing.
Well, my picture is of hot air balloons, and you notice that we've got Adra in the middle doing the exercises, and we got each one of us on each is a hot air balloon, and so I'm carrying that very far forward. So thanks for being with me on that one.
Thanks, Ross. I'm going to stick around for another minute or so. If anyone else has anything they want to say or ask, you can put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself. You're also welcome to just pop off if you're ready to go.
Thank you, Adra, for your wonderful classes.
Thanks, Bertha. Great to have you.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone here. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, I think I'll let everyone go. All right, I'll see you next Wednesday. So no class on Friday. I'll see you soon.